What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you some more Pillars of Eternity lore. This time we are talking about the Watchers. But before we get into that, I do want to mention just real quick that there will be some spoilers for some of the games here. Nothing too crazy, but I did want to give people some warning ahead of time. But with that out of the way, let's jump into this. So what is a Watcher in Pillars of Eternity? To sum it up very simply, they are people who can see and interact with souls in the in-between. In the world of Eora, which is the world of Pillars of Eternity, the in-between is a sort of shadow realm. It is where souls initially go when things die. Their soul leaves their body, or whatever vessel they've got going on, and enters the in-between, which is a sort of shadow realm to the actual realm, and then those souls eventually make their way to the Adra, before finally transferring to a place called the Beyond. However, while in the in-between as well as inside Adra, Watchers are people who are capable of speaking to and interacting with those souls. Now, the exact methods of how someone becomes a Watcher can be a little vague as far as the games go. On one hand, it seems like some people can just be born with the ability, whereas on the other, it seems that some people can just become Watchers through some sort of event that triggers something where they see into the in-between, and then that ability just never goes away. That said, it is a gift and a curse in a lot of ways. So in the world of Eora, souls can experience what's called an awakening. That is to say, when a person remembers their past lives, because all the souls in this world get reincarnated, and people can remember memories from past lives. When this happens, that's what's called an awakening. Now, because of a Watcher's very nature of seeing into the in-between and talking to souls, they are especially prone to awakenings. And when combined with their innate ability to speak to these souls, it very, very often leads to the mental deterioration of the Watcher. Now, it's worth mentioning, though, that this does not always happen. For instance, in the White March DLC for the first Pillars of Eternity, we meet a fellow Watcher who seems to be able to either suppress the memories that come with being a Watcher, or he has simply not experienced an awakening and is just through mental fortitude, apparently, able to be a Watcher without this being a problem. Though even in that person's case, it is mentioned that this seems to be a struggle for him. And this is especially true when we meet Merriwald fairly early on in the first Pillars of Eternity. And in addition to helping point us in the right direction, Merriwald's purpose in that game is to show you what happens to Watchers who don't find a way to come to terms with their illness, or soul malady as it is often known. Those things said, despite the inherent risk of becoming essentially insane that comes with being a Watcher, they are often sought out for their very unique talents of being able to interact with the souls of the in-between. They are sought out by animancers looking to help further their own research into the study of souls, because obviously having someone who can talk to said souls would be inherently useful to that field of study. Though truth be told, animancers have a hard time tracking legitimate Watchers for this purpose, simply because most people they encounter are either charlatans, or the fact that, again, these people are often subject to mental instability, making for poor work partners. But that said, their abilities allow them to solve problems no one else can solve, simply because they can potentially interact with souls in a way no one else can. As is showcased by both of the Pillars of Eternity games, your character is a Watcher and thus can solve basically all of the game's problems simply because they are the Watcher. And kind of the last subject of a Watcher I want to talk about is their ability to direct souls, it would seem. So throughout both the games, your character as a Watcher will encounter situations where they are able to directly impact what happens to a soul, either directing that soul to the Adra, absorbing that soul into themselves, thus taking in all of its knowledge, things like that, binding a soul to places, often in the way animancers themselves would, or even potentially shattering that soul. But my point being is that in addition to interacting with these souls, it seems possible for a Watcher on some level to be able to direct soul energy, though it is often a little vague in exactly how that works, which I imagine is by design for the plot. However, if there is future games, or even perhaps an Avowed, which from my understanding is actually a prequel, I hope they explore that concept a little more, because it's just really cool to me personally. But there you go, guys. There is Watchers in the Pillars of Eternity universe. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. I couldn't do this without you guys watching, so truly, just thank you so much. May you wander in wisdom, and have an amazing day.